Hello, Twitch, and probably YouTube after this. I'm Kiederen, and back with some more Golden Sun after a nice long holiday break. Seemed everyone was pretty busy, so haven't really gotten around to getting back to this until now, but glad I can get back into it. As a recap, this is Fortune Falls Cave. We just met with psychic monk of sorts who apparently could read our minds in addition to us reading his. And he sent us here to find some kind of power or something that will help us get through this so-called evil forests that is blocking our path. Not that we've actually gone and checked it yet, but I know it's there. I think maybe you're supposed to dead end here and then go check out the forest and dead end there and then come back here afterwards, but I think I figured this one out even in the first time I played it. This is a mimic. It was still early enough after getting Ivan that I still liked mind reading people. And he seemed like someone important, and if he didn't say anything originally when you just talked to him, then mind reading was kind of the next step that I had gotten used to anyway. Anyway. Isaac and Garrett have good physical attack. Mia and Ivan are the casters. So Ray is kind of a mid-power attack. I still have the Elven Rapier? Yeah, I guess I would. That's still relatively current. It just feels like it was a while ago. Oh, no one's blinded, but I'm still missing left and right here. Alright, let's use some Jean. Gross. Alright, we're not level 13 yet, so Mia still doesn't have what's it called? Restore, which is everything other than poison, because for whatever reason they decided to split up their status ailments like that. I certainly would have preferred everything altogether, but I guess it's split up between status ailments that cure themselves at the end of battle and status ailments that persist after battle. Poison being the one that persists. Let's try using Fever again there. And Atalanta's good, even though I believe Mimics are resistant to wind. It'll still do decent damage. Yeah, enough to finish. The reward was that game ticket. I don't know if I hit this or not, but Dragon's Flame. So last time we finished the forest dungeon, cured that particular forest of the corruption that was in it, though there are still monsters running around. And then we moved on, crossed the drawbridge, and ended up at this Chinese kind of temple, or not Chinese, but kind of like a Taoist Buddhist temple. And supposedly there's another evil forest that's blocking our path ahead, which we'll see later tonight. And the head monk here told us to take this trial in order to obtain some power or artifact or something that will help us clear that forest. So that's what we're here for. This is a kind of a trial slash dungeon within in the waterfall in the temple area. Yes, trial of the dragon. There is a dragon thing. You don't fight it. It's a statue, but it's a motif that doesn't really do much else for the dungeon. Oh, actually, if you know, you can actually cheese this because I know the secret here, but I'll do it normally just to show off the dungeon and to grind a little bit because I think I'm a little bit behind on levels. I'm usually level 13 by now. I think this is rays of light give birth to shadows, revealing the way. So this is the kind of not the hub room, but this is the target room. We're supposed to get over to this side, get up to that dragon statue, and insert an eye gem into that socket, and he'll breathe fire and illuminate this room, and that will reveal a hidden path that will allow you to get up to either of these doors. I think it's the one on the right. In reality, even if you don't do that, that path is already there. So if you know about it, you can actually go and just walk it. There's no danger of falling off either. So you could potentially happen upon it by accident even. But it's a speedrunning strat, and I'm not speedrunning this. Just having some fun. So that's a dead end. It's Golden Sun's equivalent of a warp point. It helps bridge areas later in the dungeon with the earlier sections. So once you actually get to that room, if you cross that bridge, that rolling log on the way back, you can access that area more quickly later. Which is a kind of neat design. I like that. It's a little less obvious than just a random warp glyph on the ground that they just hand to you. And it continues to fit within the aesthetic of the dungeon. Even if the dungeon itself, well, since this is a trial, that actually kind of makes sense. But stuff like with the Mercury Lighthouse before and how it has all these puzzles in it, from a lore perspective, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Actually, can you go? I don't think you could go down. It just looks like there's a door there. And there is loot to be gotten here too. That treasure chest, I think, has a weapon in it that's worth getting. But yeah, log rolling puzzle. Not a puzzle here. There's another one later. This is just kind of preparing you to think about the log rolling in terms of puzzles. So you've got the broad axe. Garrett needs it more. Alright, we have a hard nut to distribute. Mia's got better defense than Isaac right now. Well, I think it might be the Adept's clothes. Or a slight level discrepancy. Whatever. Don't need to hoard those. Better just to use them. Right, this is one of those. You can, if you don't want to take damage, you go the long way around. But that in turn also increases your chances of encountering enemies. Or you can kind of skip some of that, but you take a little bit of damage from the spikes. It's not a whole lot. Yes. Since this is not in a town, I have to fight this genie. That's the plural one. Or Gene is plural, genie is singular. This is just one. I'm probably going to continually mix that up over the course of this playthrough, because playing it on my own, pretty much never had to actually say it out loud. Which is kind of a common thing for my streams. Do I want them? Do I want these in standby to summon? I'm gonna start with them on. Can start summoning everything else. Get greedy and try to get a effective victory, get the bonus bonus experience, and I don't think they might drop like a potion, which is actually pretty good. So this is a partial approach to what's called a summon rush strategy, where you start out the combat with all of your Jin on standby, and then right on that first turn of combat, you just summon your strongest summons right from the start, since you can do that. It does really big damage, but because of the way setting or putting Jin on standby reduces your stats because they don't contribute to your stat bonuses anymore, you end up with lower stats until after your summons go through, and then your Jin all recover from the post-summon state. So if they don't die in that first summon rush, then your party's about as weak as it gets until they all come back. So that's the downside, but a lot of times, so yeah, like here, normally Jin give you stat bonuses that are pretty substantial, and since they contribute to your class as well, you are reduced down to your base class when all of your Jin are on recovery. Oh, lame. I was saving manually. I should have just save stated, because it's almost more effort to reload than to just... Oh, actually that didn't reset itself. Than to redo this puzzle. Alright, so save stating this time. Trying this again. Yes, let's fast forward through this a little bit. There we go. I didn't heal up after the last time, too. Oops. Actually, I'll go with Granite, because Granite has that priority bonus. It always goes first. My fastest character... Oh wait, I gave him the heal ring. Oh, and that was it. Oh, nice. Heat Wave. Right, level 12. So Garrett just learned Psy-Energy called Heat Wave, which is great. It's one of his better skills, better Psy-Energies. It is single target, but it takes a modifier from his physical attack. So it hits a lot harder than other Psy-Energies. And Isaac's going to get a similar one next level. And it's one of my favorite spells, called Ragnarok. Just summons a giant sword from the sky and it blows up. So this is that warp point thing that I mentioned earlier. So now I can kind of get back and forth there. So we got 2 logs this time. And got to figure out how to get to that door over here. Maybe. Let me double check what this door up here leads. Okay, so that's where I thought it went. So yeah, I want to get over to that other door. I think I vaguely remember... Oops, let's walk over all the spikes. Oh, right. So yeah, I was correct that first time. So this log will give me a jump point to get off of this one, like that. Reminds me, I need to give that there. So now that when I roll this log, it stops at this one, and it lets me jump here. There's the jewel. And we're ready to go bedazzle that dragon statue. What went into the socket? Was it this dragon's eye that I just picked up? So yeah, there's the path. That's the shadow of a path. Oh, here I can use heat wave here. Assuming they don't die. They died. Never mind. Maybe next time. So yeah, you can use this. We want that upper level, so we want to go up these stairs and then up. Because that center path really is just for you to survey the room before you actually have to do anything. So now we walk across this invisible path that doesn't really make sense to have a shadow if it isn't visible, but secret of key shall be revealed to the disciples of truth. And this is what we were after, the orb of force. Bestows force. So this is like the catch beads in that it's an item that, when equipped, allows that character to use a new synergy. In this case, force. Basically, punch stuff with your mind from a distance, to put it as ungloriously as possible. Alright, just wanted to use heat wave on something. Here we are. basically another form of the fireball, which, to be honest, except for Volcano, most of his spells are just kind of variations on fireball, but that one was a big one and focused on a single target, so it hurts more. And seeing the bigger numbers are certainly satisfying. I did. Nyinpa, that was his name, the monk. Heal up and grab that gem. Closest equivalent to a sleep at the inn, and doesn't cost any money either. Yeah, just telling me what its name is doesn't really help me understand what it's for, other than punching stuff with my mind. If you say so, monk man. I only knew that was what you wanted me to say. Oh, I don't entirely buy that, but okay, if you say so. And that's all he has to say. Alright, so here's the next evil forest. Monster hides in stump, and we have to force him out. So I'll map this here, because I'm going to be using it a lot. Yeah, right? So it fled down the south. Just to show you what happens if you go away the wrong way, it loops you. Kind of. Yeah, there you go. Now we're back to the start again. So it is possible to brute force your way through this, and I believe I actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I actually didn't get forced the very first time, so I lied about that. The very first playthrough, I did not think to use Mind Read on the monk, and did basically trialed and errored my way through this entire dungeon. Because the monster that appears is not a trigger so much as just a path reveal, or a hint that a player equipped can follow to save themselves the frustration of dealing with the loops. But if you do guess the correct direction, or you figure out that you're going the wrong way and you backtrack and try something else, it is possible to get through this. And it's kind of interesting because you need force for, you technically need force for a few things later on, but since it's actually possible to miss the synergy, they had to program in some kind of counter or some kind of alternate way of activating those cutscenes. There's one in the mines, which are coming up fairly soon. I don't know if I'll get to them tonight or not, but that might actually be the only one off the top of my head, but it has been a little while. But yeah, cowardly monsters. Yes. Ow. And that was the Arctic Blades weapon unleash. Ow. So when enemies use those kinds of skills that seem like they hit multiple times, there's usually different scales or levels at which they can actually hit at. And they generally do like fractional damage, so that first one hit Garrett for half his health, and the second one hit Isaac for, I think, about a quarter of his health. Let's see what to catch here for that nut. I thought I had lined that up. Okay. I've got a third tier wind summon I can use now, because I have 3 wind Jin. Should heal up after this battle as well. That's a Synergy Seal status ailment that Isaac's weapon inflicted. Oops, that was the wrong shortcut. Okay, that one worked. Zephyr is a speed boost, and I'm actually not sure if it takes effect the same turn it's cast, or if it's, I think it does. Garrett is just so slow that even with the speed boosts, the enemies went before he did. But, not 100% sure. I'll use Breeze as well there. I can summon... I actually don't remember. I can vaguely picture what the animation looks like in my head, but I do not remember what it's called. Actually, I can use it next turn. See, that was another one of those fractional damage skills. Procne? Yeah, not sure how to pronounce that one, but... Okay, so this is the next, kind of the next level now that we've seen that the monster can lead us down the right path, and we've seen monster that will attack us. Now that there's 2, so down is a correct path. But to the right is also a correct path. In this case, there's treasure here. I believe this happens one other time. Still alive. Probably should not ignore my health there. Apple. Apple, I believe, is attack boosts. Yeah. I'll keep giving it to Isaac. Unlike defense, which everyone uses, like the physical attack stat is only really used by regular melee attacks and Synergy that take a attack modifier like Heat Wave did before, or like Heat Wave does. And Mia and Ivan don't have Synergy that take attack modifiers, so they're pretty much always going to get more damage out of their straight Synergy than their physical attacks. So that's how I'm justifying not giving Ivan or Mia that apple. Isaac still has full Synergy points, so might as well use Synergy. Oops. Yeah, that was kind of, I guess that was kind of another one of these tutorial sections where it's just kind of introducing the player to, hey, this is something that you may have to do in the future. So we got a Venus Genie here that I'm going to remember to actually save state for, because this one's a bit of a pain to get to and from if he runs. I don't remember where I mapped my select button. Anyway. This is a pretty important one to recruit as well, because this is Quartz. Quartz is your first reusable revive. Unlike the revive spell you get later, which has 100% accuracy, this one has a chance of failing, but doesn't cost any Synergy points, and as I had mentioned, is not a consumable that goes away after one use, like the Water of Life. So I debuffed his attack, buffed my attack, so I'm doing some pretty decently big damage here. There we go. And this gives me the 3rd tier Earth Summon as well. Let me see if I can pronounce it. I think it's Cubel. I've always thought of it with a soft C. And yeah, this puzzle's to get the access to this trunk and make the monster move. I'm still hurt. But at least I have quartz now, so if someone dies, I can res them next battle. Or attempt to, at least. That's the other reason why having a res is powerful. Some games will revive your party members that died with like 1 hit point after combat, but in this game you stay dead if you die until you're actually rezzed, and they based the they have the whole priest's revival system set up for some reason. I'm curious what the motivations for that was, but not quite as impressive as Procne was, but the 4th tier summons are all kind of in their own league. Right. Ivan is still dying. And now we have 3. So this one has a stump, a mini stump very close to it, so it is likely going to be a monster that attacks. Yep, the yellow ones are the aggressive ones. Wait for Forge. So that those fractional attacks also do have a small chance of reducing a character's HP to 1, and that's probably I believe that's the jackpot roll for them RNG-wise. Down, and I believe it's going to be left as the other one. Yeah. Actually can't get through there. And the left should be treasure. Oh, that's actually useful because this is an enemy that can cast Psi Energy. Oh, got a little closer. Something that was fortunately fixed in the DS sequel. Actually having the touchscreen was great for map synergy. It gave you a lot of new ways of applying it and a lot more control over that as well. Elven shirts. Mia is a good candidate. It doesn't mess up my turn order. Let me see here. 88, 71, 66, 41. But it may help her go ahead of enemies. And that's always good since she's my strongest healer. Isaac can also heal, but Mia will get better point per signer healing points per synergy. Yeah, Ragnarok. Awesome. The forecast is in, and there's a prediction of swords raining in the future. I'm gonna jump from one trunk to the next. And then this one, I think, go around the long way. Yeah. As long as the swords aren't raining on me, then it's okay. All okay. But yeah. I was so excited when I learned that that spell gets an upgrade in the sequel. And it does not disappoint. Though Heatwave also gets an upgrade, and that's probably even an even better upgrade just from a visual standpoint. It's that much more interesting to behold. And it's not super expensive either. Seven synergy points is pretty decent. That was probably a waste of synergy points here. Alright, I happen to know that this is the boss after I do this. I wasn't close enough. Nope, it just doesn't interact. So I'm going to heal up and save. Killer ape. Giant blue monkey. No, I've never really questioned why it was blue, but now I'm questioning why it's blue. So now that I actually have buffs, I'm gonna actually start by setting up my buffs. And he's faster than all of me. Okay, that's great. Good thing Isaac wasn't really doing anything that turn anyway. But yeah, it's that agility buff is even more important now. I believe he's weak to fire. I don't think he casts anything. And he's resistant to water, so I may just want to keep Mia defending unless I need healing. Yeah, that's good. Since he uses a lot of physical attacks, blinding him will help me considerably. Actually, Mia can summon for me as well. Use the healing ring here. For a long time, when playing this game, I was always kind of overemphasizing summoning with a character that would benefit from that firepower increase or the elemental boosts afterwards. But now that I'm here and thinking about it a little more, that boost probably isn't as big of a deal as keeping my turn commands efficient. Alright, we'll use this since we can summon something big afterwards. Keep hitting him with that Ragnarok, so that's good damage. Same thing with Heat Wave. Heat Wave is about the same. I'll keep my attack up. Oh, alright. Was expecting a bit more of a drag out fight, but seems we made it through. And we're out. I believe this is Zion. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce that, because this one is definitely more clearly based in kind of a Chinese knockoff culture. If from the music and the kanji on the buildings and the architecture wasn't enough. This is a Mercury Genie. This is a fun one to actually get. It's kind of clever. So this girl is gathering water from the river, not soiling herself. She's just transporting water. But when you talk to her, she spills it, and puddles can be frozen. Since I don't remember where I moved my select button. But I can show off too. No, that wasn't close enough. Alright, he doesn't say anything more than that, but if you do that, then yeah. This is the shop. I guess I can do this first. Got 5,000. There's nothing new here, so just going with what they have in the main store. I think the Battle Rapier and the Battle Mace are the new things. She's still using the witch's wand, so I'm gonna swap her out here. It's 10. It's only 3. And that's 11. Oh, his inventory is full. Oh, not that one. This. This you can take. Antidotes, especially with Mia in the party now, antidotes aren't really that big of a deal. She has cure poison. Elixirs to a certain extent as well, but if she is synergy sealed or asleep or paralyzed, then elixirs become a little more important again. The Elven Rapier's outdated. The fur coat's outdated. I can actually sell the lucky metal too. Oh yeah, the Douse drop. The monkey boss dropped a Douse drop. That is like the Force Orb, and the Catch Beads is bestows certain synergy. In this case, spell Douse, which literally making it rain. I don't think you actually use that for a little while. You might use it in the mines, maybe. I don't remember. Most of the puzzles in the mines involve removing water rather than adding water. This is the first rare gear, I believe. I could give the elven shirt to someone else, but I could also then save coins and not buy the China dress at all. Since its effect is not a consumable, it's a use item like the healing ring, where you have to actually use a turn in combat and pick it out of your inventory, and it takes up a turn, and the success rate isn't that great. So it's not really anything special. So everyone has armlets. The bronze helm, everyone's got that already. Silver circlet. Silver circlet's an upgrade. It's a fairly substantial upgrade there. So there. Is that boosts? Okay. That's curious. I'm not sure I ever noticed that before. For some reason, there's probably fractional stats involved here, but the same item boosts Garrett's defense by more than it boosts Isaac's. Garrett's getting 7 points of defense instead of 6 that Isaac gets. I think that's the extent of what is worth actually investing in here. I'm gonna sell off these game tickets again because I can buy them back when they're actually relevant. Until then, they're just taking up space in my inventory. I even have broken English. Is there anything in here? I don't remember. Oh yeah, and they produce silk, in case you didn't quite get the China reference. move on with the actual story here. And stand here, use chi. I don't have chi, but I certainly have something else. But I'm gonna cheat first. Anyway. Actually, is this locked? Yeah, okay. That is the only way to get him to come out. So this entire subplot is actually missable. If you don't have force, like I didn't on my first run. No, no kung fu here. These guys must be important. They've got portraits. Oh, right. This is another Synergy gem fell from the sky and started causing trouble. In this particular case, it gave Phase Z here limited precognition. Naturally, the old man doesn't believe the young girl and her wild fantasies. Oh, they're father-daughter. I forgot about that too. Thank you, students. We didn't notice. Oh yeah, we're still here. Nope, no chi here. Make a liar out of the student. Suddenly we have the attention of everyone in the dojo. Something wrong with the warrior's chi. How did you know? How did you know? succeeded in confusing everyone more. I'm not sure I would say wisdom, but that might have just been something lost in translation. So the whole point of that was to get Phase Z to come out here. I think we're pretty strong. She not so subtly tells us to go west, but first I'm going to sleep at the end because my synergy is kind of low. Alright, Mist. Mist is a chance of inflicting sleep, which is a nice status. And we were going west anyway, there wasn't really anything else. Yeah. Actually, there might be a hidden, the first map genie might be up here, now that I think about it. I'm gonna go check real quick. Don't want to spend too many turns on this battle. I hit it with strong synergy. Apes just have a lot of hit points, though. Level up, that's always good. The encounter rate in this game is usually fairly fair, but every now and then you get stuff like this. It's a little thing, but that camera movement during the fire spell actually gives it a lot more personality than it would have on its own. Yeah, I think there is actually a genie up here. Maybe? Yeah, Mars. There you are. I was hoping to put it to sleep. I'm not sure how to make it reappear if it runs away. This is my main concern. But it should be close to dying. Or surrendering, I guess. There it goes. Cool. That gives me Tiamat. It's the 3rd tier fire summon. I'm up to 3 of everything. See, I haven't shown off water either, so next battle I'll do both of those. Neptune. I actually couldn't remember what the 3rd one was for water. Neptune is a whale. With a nose laser. What will they think of next? This is pretty par for the course for time it. He nose lasered the enemies to death. But yes, basically. I don't think there's anything over up there. If I keep having these apes use ransack on me, one of them's eventually gonna hit that critical and drop a character to 1 health. Or dead, I think I have seen it kill. Suddenly, another scene. So yeah, if you didn't do that before, FaZe never appears here, and you're just kind of left to make your way around to Alton. And as I said, this subplot never happens. Not yet. We get to hear a continuation of the overworld music, which is probably one of my favorite tracks in the series. I remember actually sitting out on the world map with just like headphones in and just listening to this music before. Oh, I missed a step. It goes on surprisingly long before it actually loops too, which I always appreciated. Bread. Power bread that actually increases your HP instead. I'll give this to Ivan. Unlike with the strength one, everyone needs HP. And making Ivan slightly less likely to be one-hit splatted is always a good thing. Suspicious statue. The vial? No, it's energy crystal. Yeah, I can stay at the inn. Double-digit coins is not very many coins. So the rest of this town is flooded with water that's being spewed out by those monsters, and this it's basically a dungeon that comprises killing those to reduce the water level. In case you hadn't figured it out before, the game will demonstrate how to use puddles with the frost synergy here. I believe everything up to this point that uses frost on those puddles that way has been optional. So by giving this demonstration, they are able to make it mandatory for puzzle solving in later segments. Just throwing my strongest energy in it. But yeah, you may notice how Ragnarok and Heatwave are doing like 2 to 3 times more damage than some of the other spells. That's because of that extra attack modifier. Alright, Corona was the one we got out in the field, and it's a defense buff. Probably not a great thing to have all my half of my buffing Jin be on my slowest party member, but it's alright. Cool. 2 new spells too. Frost Jewel, like Douse Drop, is confers psi energy. In case you did mess with Mia's Jin by accident or on purpose, she loses the ability to cast Frost natively when she's not in her base class or her base class tree. So this allows you to have access to Frost without ever, without messing with Jin every time you need to cast it. So water level's gone down 1 tier thanks to killing 1. And we have access to another area of the mine now. I like to pretend to give this to Garrett so that he has access to an off-element spell, but it'll never have enough power to actually amount to anything worth using. So it's not that way. Just from what I remember. Fireball is new. Oh, Quake Sphere is the new one. So this is the 3rd and final stage of the Quake Synergy line. It hits the widest number of targets and probably the most that has been available so far. I can hit, of 4 enemies here, I can target the far left one and still be able to hit all of them without, as opposed to this size, which drops off the last one if I want to focus on the far left or far right. I will actually use this one because it's a new one. I can use Douse too. It's a 1st tier spell, so it doesn't really hurt very much, but I don't think I've shown it off. Douse is accessible even without the Douse drop if you have the correct combination of Jin on the right people, which I might actually be able to mess around with since I've got 3 of everything now. I don't think you can actually make anything particularly exciting with this. I think you need at least 4, if I recall correctly, and the really fun stuff doesn't happen until 6. There's 7 of each element total, so that's not until endgame. But so with this combination, Ivan gains Prism, but loses Ray and Sleep and Whirlwind. At least keeps Plasma. No change to Synergy there. Mia, because she's in the same class, actually gains the same spells as well. Oops. Yeah, I guess. I'm actually going to switch those back. I'm just doing it by demonstration. Mostly because Mia loses her heal this way. This is actually... Swordsman's actually a pretty decent class. But now, since I'm in a water area, I actually don't want to spread around water too much. I'll use... we go to a desert after this, so I can do that then. But, let's see. Wind slash and slash, that's not... no more fire stuff. But this one, actually... This one's good. I can do this. So, Isaac and Garrett now share the Ruffian class, and that gives Planet Diver, Growth, Mad Growth, and Blast. And this allows Isaac and Garrett to both have fire synergy, which will be advantageous in this dungeon. Ivan can keep his set, and Mia's basically been relegated to heals this particular dungeon, which is kind of her specialty to begin with, so that's all right. Planet Diver, like Ragnarok and Heatwave, has an attack modifier, so it gets bonus damage based on the character's attack. Just good stuff. I'll use Blast just to show it, since don't think I've used it yet. But Planet Diver is interesting. That should be coming up next. Literally jump with an explosion and then you fall back down with an explosion. Like Ragnarok, that gets an upgrade in the sequel. I'm not sure if it's... I don't remember what it's called, but it's not quite as impressive of a change as the other ones, though. Okay, so yeah, they're still stronger in their native element, even though they're sharing Jin at the moment. Oh, Storm Ray, cool. It's an upgrade to Ray. So, I think we're approaching... if you hadn't guessed from the scenery, there are minecart puzzles in this dungeon. You're kind of like playing... actually, I don't remember what it's called. There's a kind of a ladder-like game. I'm not actually sure where I'm going with that, so never mind. You'll just see them when I get there. So close. Can I just use force on him and knock him out here? That'd be too easy. Here we are. Except the lever is pretty much always in the wrong position to start, so... Don't ask me how that works, but it does. Making Isaac a ruffian does remove his heal, though. Okay, enemies. I was just about to deal with that guy. That's fair. It's nothing as crazy as what happens in that game, in the mines. That was Blast. There's actually two spells in the game that have both been translated as blasts. Can I actually make one of them? I think Illusionist does? No. Um, yeah. Okay, this one. So that's also Blast. You can see Blast and Blast. But they do have different icons, and they are actually different spells. You can see from they have different synergy costs anyway. I don't remember the third tier of this Blast, but this one is Blast Nova Supernova, and this one is Blast Mad Blasts, and I want to say something like Dire Blast or something, but I don't remember off the top of my head. Supernova's way more interesting than the other one, just visually. And I think it's got better stats too, because it costs more. So we're basically just going to be planet diving this guy into the grave. He's going to be so frustrated because we're all jumping all over the place. But since it's a single target, I don't have to worry about using Synergy to hit AoE target stuff, so I can focus fire like this and use the attacks that have a higher attack power and burn them down faster. Like so. And we go back. There is that door that is now available. I don't remember what's in there. I think it might just be a chest. Oh yeah, and a chest I can't even reach yet. This boulder requires a synergy that I don't have. I think you get it this dungeon though. It's Lift, I believe is called. It's basically a levitate spell, but things stay levitating. However that works. So we'll see if I remember to come back for that. I don't even remember what's in that chest. It might be a rare consumable, but it'd still be a consumable. Maybe off stream I'll go back for it. Makes me wish I could bring the minecart out here. So I can also go down here now. This area was flooded before. So now I have access to it. Alright, minecart, this area. But minecart always starts out with facing the wrong direction. But in this case, riding it to the wrong destination actually brings me closer to the switch first, so I should do that. Oh yeah, giving Isaac all of the fire Jin also slowed him down somewhat, so my turn order is different. It's Ivan, Mia, Isaac, Garrett now. So I can just... I have to ride this back, but it's simple enough to jump back in the cart now. And I don't have any extra encounters along the way either. This is a mimic. And good thing it is also... mimics are all weak to fire. I think they're actually resistant to wind. Yeah, resistant to wind, weak to fire. So general trends between weak points and resistances aren't set in stone there. Ow, that's gonna hurt. Shine Plasma is a rather advanced spell. You usually don't get it. The player character doesn't actually get it until almost end game. Wow. Just in case Fever doesn't kill. I think Fever should kill him now, but... yeah. Game ticket was the only reward for that one. Sorry, my keyboard felt like it was acting up a little bit there. Since that puddle, that ice pillar goes away after you leave the area, they need to leave that slide spot so that you can get back down. A lot of these guys. Gotta remember how to actually do this one. Because this is it's a big room and you can't see all of the room at once. You lose time to encounters by examining everything or taking the time to wander around. I think this is yes, this is the switch. I do kind of want it to go to the left first. So there's something over there I think that I want. Should be on his last legs there. Yeah, this treasure chest. It has a very good shield. Isaac currently clocking in more defense than Garrett, so Garrett gets the shield. I try to keep them relatively balanced. If I had my Jin back to their regular positions though, I might have considered giving it to Isaac instead, mostly because he, in his native configuration, he actually has a weakness to fire, and the fire resist will help mitigate that. But with the current Jin, I don't think that persists. Maybe it does. I don't think there's anything in here that uses fire though that I can test it. So run over here, flip that switch, then run all the way back and hop in the cart again. Probably like 1 or 2 more encounters. Just one. At higher levels, off characters like Mia in this particular case will be able to contribute a little bit more with their melee attack just because they'll do more, and their melee weapon may have a more interesting effect on its critical unleash. But at the moment, that's not quite the case. I think this might be dead. Yeah. Nice that they keep dropping vials, because those are very powerful healing items, especially early game. They should still recover for more HP than my current max, even. There you go. The puddle melted during that sequence, so you have to use the slide drop there. Probably could have used just a regular attack there. I keep underestimating how powerful Storm Ray is. Actually, I'll soldier through and deal with the encounters because I am still a tad behind on level. But we're about, let's say, somewhere between half and 2/3 of the way through this particular dungeon now. You actually get a bit of a break because you have to go to a different section of this dungeon in order to continue it, and that involves leaving back to the town. So it's a good opportunity to check in with the shops, which are now not underwater, and rest at the inn if needed, which my synergy levels do need. Especially Isaac, he's getting real low there. Once I stopped being quite as stingy. So item shops there, and that's available. They fortunately make the inn all the way up at the top so that you can have access to it from the starts, which I did sleep here when I first got here. Actually, it looks like almost all of the water is out. But I think there is still at least one, maybe two monsters to kill. Chainmail. 7's decent, but 4 isn't. Not for the loss of the synergy point boost that you get. Gauntlets are good. It's a boost to 6. But I've got a good amount of coins finally. The other reason to soldier through those battles is getting some extra coins. Have anything rare? Nope, nothing new. Don't know how they keep the same stock between stores in different towns, but it does magically somehow. Let me see your rare stuff. Synergy Rod, I think? Yeah, that's new. So, kind of wanted to give it to Mia to give her a weapon unleash, but Ivan's Blessed Ankh was much further behind stat-wise. Yeah, it would be a downgrade to give it to Mia then. And then let's see, Claymores are really good. Should be a big jump, both of them. Isaac already doesn't have a weapon unleash, so that's trading power for power. And that's all I can afford. Okay. Let me spread out some of these a bit. Give my two fastest characters the revive items. Oh, the nuts can be distributed better as well. There we go. So I don't have all the relevant healing items just on one character. And that character goes down and suddenly I'm kind of stuck. And back in we go. Yeah, there shouldn't be too much more to this dungeon, so I think we're in the 3/4 to the 2/3 to 3/4 range rather than the half. Assuming I'm remembering it correctly. This is going to be one of those, the long way around is the only way around. Vesperia did that a fair bit too. I managed to guess the correct path in Vesperia quite a bit by just going for the one that seemed like it was actually longer. It's another... okay. I thought that might be another mimic, but yeah, it does seem like it would have been a bit too soon. I was hoping that extra damage on the Isaac's Planet Diver would help Garrett's, or no, actually it was, he could have gone either way. But yeah, the extra damage would get a kill from blasts. Actually, Storm Ray and then regular attacks. Yeah, you level up, and I missed who it was. Probably Mia, because I think she's ahead of everyone still. Nope. I think... must have been Isaac then. Ah yes, the fourth Mercury Ginny. Another one that's a bit of a pain to get to. Puddles usually have to be frozen for whenever you see them. That is probably one of the missed opportunities, in that it just becomes too obvious when you're supposed to use what. I suppose it was aimed maybe at a more casual audience or a younger audience, so they wanted to be as deliberate about that as possible, or maybe it was a limitation. Oh, it wouldn't necessarily had to have been a limitation of the hardware. Um, I think they could have just put extra ones here or there. And I think there might be a few here or there, but most of the time if you see a puddle, you're supposed to freeze it to actually get to something. Save state. And basically going through the same routine that we do with the water statues, since it has the same weak point and it's a single targets as well. It just hits back a fair bit harder. Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting it to finish in one round. I was expecting, thought it had a bit more HP than that. I was gonna try to finish it with a fellow genie. And Spritz is also a really great one. This is your first wish genie. Wish is a synergy spell you get later. Actually, she might have already. Yeah. Wish is full party heal. And then Spritz, when you unleash Spritz, it's also a full party heal that's slightly stronger, but you lose access to Wish once that's gone. Also, I can show off Boreas now too, the 4th and highest tier water summon. And we have Nova now too. Boreas is kind of neat. Well, actually, Boreas is a little. Boreas is really neat in the 3D, the DS game. He's a bit underwhelming, almost a little silly in this one, but Nova is just a bigger explosion. Boreas is a giant ice, shaved ice machine, basically. And then off-screen fires a bolt that shatters everything. But damage is real there, so still good. Right, Storm Ray plus attacks. That's all I need for these encounters. Or the three enemy encounters at least. If I had to guess, it's probably because there was flooding and this is technically a water area, but that really wouldn't explain where they came from in the first place unless they like crawled out of fossils in the woodwork or something, or not the woodwork, but like maybe they were frozen or something from a glacial era and the water helped spread heat or something. I'm just making stuff up at this point. I don't think it went any further than the fact that this is kind of a water area because of all the flooding, but yeah, it doesn't explain why they're there in the first place. Okay, so yeah, we're almost done this dungeon here. There's a long winding area. Watch for falling rocks. This is like, do not push the button. So if you missed the Force Psy-Energy, um, when you checked that sign, Garrett would pop out and be all snarky like and actually jump and hit that log himself. I don't disagree, but I thought it was pretty neat that you could use the train tracks as a ladder though. And then this kind of opens up into this temple-like area, which is never narratively explained. Another kind of an interesting thing. There's no text or other than the warning sign in this dungeon as to what the relevance of this is. It's just here, and actually there's not even really any clues in the game design itself that kind of hint you on. But yeah, my delaying here wasn't a sign there is a boss here. It's a bigger lizard. Suppose maybe you're supposed to assume was that there were assuming that there was this temple here originally, and then the town built on top of it, and the mines were probably pulling resources from that were used in the temple or something maybe, and it had the temple had these Hydros guardians originally, and it was probably the Psy-Energy crystals raining down that activated them, which hence caused the flooding. But there's no real explanation for what the temple or what these statues were, what the temple was here about or in the first place, though. Actually, can use Wish. Oh, it's really nice that she's the fastest in the crew now. Gives me that heal right when I need it. Should be getting pretty low here. Do I want to try to... Actually, I'm outspeeding it already. I don't need the speed boost. Alright, so trying to finish it with fever there. Oh, no, that was one attack too early. Oh, I completely forgot that there was a cutscene here. Maybe that'll actually talk about what I was. I think it does now that I see it and I'm reminded. I think it does kind of talk a little bit about why things are here. Yes, I was just thinking about how it was strange. Nope, just gonna leave it. Yeah, lift. That's how we can deal with those boulders. Oh, I'll go through that in a second. I'm actually gonna swing back to town real quick and heal up again. Yeah, that's kind of about the extent of where we went with that conversation. Though, I think we can get a little bit more in that if we assume that the Synergy crystal, the lifting gem itself, is a treasure, in that since it contains a power for adepts, they wanted to protect it from falling into the wrong hands kind of deal. So that's probably what the Guardians were for. Do I have to? I might actually not have to go back to town. I'll go back for the other thing in the earlier mine, the shallower mine later. Right. More stuff. That is not the right Synergy. I'm not gonna glean any extra secrets from that stump. I tried to make sense of what it was thinking, but I was stumped. I think this is a dead end. I am, in a sense, reciprocally entertained. Hey, we're through. And this is the Llama Temple. There should be a, yeah, here's the gem. So there's a pretty big exposition dump coming up here. I don't really need to save. There's no battle. Apparently so. That is what she just said. OMG. Come on, Ivan. How have you not figured that out by now? It does kind of make me wonder a little bit about this disconnect between the narrative and the gameplay. Um, I I at least thought it was fairly obvious that he was a Jupiter adept. I Is his base class Windseer or actually called Jupiter adept? I thought it might have been, but yeah, this they had already established that Jupiter and Wind were the analogous terms for the wind alignment. And as the primary caster of Wind's Psynergy, it was pretty clear to me. But overall, this is kind of exposition characterizing the Jupiter Adept clan and giving Ivan a bit more characteristic as well. Characterization. That's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. I somehow doubt that that was the only reason, but certainly a reason. Those dastards. Foreshadowing. Why not? Please say more. Having Bravely Default flashbacks. Except more like Bravely Default was giving me Golden Sun flashbacks. So this came first. But there was probably several other JRPGs that are equally guilty of that trope. That came first too. We've just cleared 2 evil forests, and evil desert sounds just fine to me. Why does it have to be evil, though? You ask a very good question, Ivan. I assume that their powers extend to protecting Felix and Alex as well, as those two are not fire adepts. You make a good point. I do. I want to say Berseria wasn't as bad with it. Arthur kind of did it, but Arthur also had other stuff going on. And I kind of felt like he had. I didn't think he was as great of a villain, since I was railing on Berzeria's villains a little earlier ago, but I do think he at least had an emotional reason why he was not revealing everything that he knew. I'm not sure it's a necessarily good emotional reason why, but it is what it is. There are lots of other reasons why we want Ivan to learn Reveal. After all this talking about how you were predestined to be here to teach Ivan Reveal, and now all of a sudden you're no longer confident. Scientifically, that was inconclusive. There were a lot of factors at play there. Aha, it was that character we met earlier. Makes me wonder if anyone could just take a Psynergy stone and then just like rub it all over their head and suddenly they can use Psynergy. It makes about as much sense as being boned by one as it fell from the sky. Oh, wait, what about us? Their friend might be dying, but let's delay just a second to get Technicolor here for progression's sake. That not an issue. Reveal is perfectly powerful right from the start. Alright, so we have reveal now. Let's see. Reveal makes this. It's a kind of a Legend of Zelda Lens of Truth-esque deal here. Oops. So we get a whole bunch of secrets stuff now. Let me see if I can find one. It'll also reveal when things like the boxes and jugs have items that you can pillage from them. I don't think there's any here, but reveal is one of the most consistently used synergy for the rest of the game, aside from move. Hi there. How are you trapped if you aren't crushed? They had to be kind of very, very careful about how they positioned this amalgamation of rocks in order to kind of force you to take a specific position before using lift. Yeah, it's a flying rock. Less talking, more pulling. Yep, sure. I can do this all day. Should have done that from the start. Despite all your precognition, you didn't see that one, huh? No, you wanted to go after Felix. We wouldn't have to if you didn't say things like that in the first place, trying to take credit. Okay. See if I can figure out where my select button went. So I'll just look at my emulator options for a second here. Backspace, huh? Oh yeah, there it is. Don't know why I put it there, but that's where it is. I think I can actually go back to Xian now and get extra, maybe an extra cutscene or just some dialogue. Nope, no more log to push over. I guess just that extra little bit of dialogue there. Oh wait, I was already in here. But excuse me. Completing this side quest, especially because it was optional, also does unlock an extra event in the sequel if I transfer my data, which is nice. I think it just yields an item that's it's pretty good, but it's not game breaking by any means. Just how those kinds of rewards should work. Since with John gone, maybe I should just go back for that extra thing now, since I have an opportunity. Maybe I should just call it a night here, though, actually, after I do this, because it is almost midnight. I can feel my voice going a little bit as well, since I haven't done this in a little while. Apply well. Good, better heal. Is Mia actually faster than... I think Mia's actually faster than Ivan right now. It's because of that class upgrade from having 4 Gene. Oh, cookie. Good old mine cookies. Welcome back. Though I was just kind of saying that I think I'm gonna call it around after I get out here, mostly because it's almost midnight and my voice is going. And it's a good in-between place to stop anyway. We can pick up with the desert next time. It wasn't even your cat, huh? Just a cat. Now that I think about it, I'm not sure why there are apes in the mine either. A lot of the monsters here don't make much sense. Actually, it would have been more. It's only 48 coins, but I could have saved that if I had just gone to the llama temple, and just used the Cyanogy crystal there, which is where I'm headed anyway. But yeah, the path has been cleared, like it should have been as soon as this happened. They already knew that the path was blocked. Right. So this is the desert. It's got a heat gauge that increases when you go over certain types of sand, and when it maxes out, the whole party takes a chunk of damage. I'll probably get hit once or twice with it, but I'm overall fairly good about keeping it down. But I'll explain more about how that works next time, because this is a good place to stop. Yeah. This is actually one of 2 deserts in the game, and the only one that actually has this mechanic to it, which thereby makes it the more annoying of the 2. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and hopefully see you tomorrow for anime, but otherwise maybe next week for everyone else, and who knows when for anyone tuning into the archive. But thanks for watching to you as well. Good night, everyone.